Good morning, Lionhearts. It's even earlier today than it was yesterday. I'm up an extra half hour early. That alarm went off at 4:45. No good. No bueno. Anyway, like I told you guys last night, I just don't want to plan on having time to vlog today. And I'm guessing I probably won't, because when I was at work yesterday, they said, plan for 12 hours or maybe 14 tomorrow. So I went ahead and vlogged early. I went ahead and got it done yesterday, and it was so cool. I have been a Guns N' Roses fan as long as I can remember, since I was in second grade. It was probably the most defining band that I ever found on my own and got into. And this is the story of the house they lived in. It was known as the Hell House. And by all accounts, there is nothing good other than the music that came out of that house. A lot of really bad behavior, a lot of despicable behavior, but in the end, it was the 80s, and that's what made the music what it was. So today, I'm going to take you guys to see the Hell House. Guns N' Roses moved into this place in 1985. They were all kind of crashing there. Duff was the only one with the job, and any girl they could find to come over and bring them food was welcome. And actually, I read all kinds of weird stories about how one guy would be with the girl, and the other guys would be like looting her purse. So like I said, not a whole lot of positive things as far as personalities came out of this, but a whole lot of great music and a whole lot of weirdness. So today, enjoy the Hell House. The house where Guns N' Roses lived when they recorded Appetite for Destruction. Out to Get Me was recorded, Out to Get Me was written there. Handful of other songs were written there, and I actually found a picture of the band sitting on the porch. When we get to the house, take a look at the windows on the porch. That's the Hell House. Daze with Jordan the Lion, and all of my misspeaking begins now. There he is, guys. You wouldn't believe what happened to me in the shower. I have one of those 3-tier racks that you put in the corner of your shower, and it's got kind of a spring load thing in it. So one at the top goes to the ceiling, and then the bottom goes to like the corner of your shower or your tub or whatever. I must have had mine for quite a while, because I went to grab the Dr. Bronner's out of there, and the whole big long piece that holds it together must have rusted through, because the whole thing collapsed on top of me in the shower, and my shower water was just all rust from the inside of the pipe. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, but being on a time schedule, it wasn't the best thing that could have happened to me, but it was pretty funny. Ja, if you're not going to pee, at least show him your face. 5 a.m. and he's out here. Pretty cool sunrise, at least. Echo Park Lake. Alright guys, my work day begins now. Whoever won the auction last night for the eBay box, I was wearing your blue sunglasses yesterday. I did order another pair, so they should be here tomorrow. I'll have another road pair, but the day starts now. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll check in when I can. But right now, go enjoy the Hell House. Well, gang, Daze with Jordan the Lion fans, this is the house where it all starts for me. If any of you remember, I know I've told you guys, by far the most defining album in my life ever, and it was my very first favorite album, was Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. And this was called the Hell House. This is the house that they lived in while they were recording Appetite for Destruction. Isn't that amazing? Now what's cool about this is, like, this is a band that probably, in a lot of ways, was just destined to happen, because all the members came from somewhere else other than Slash, and Slash wasn't even the original guitar player.
if you can believe that. It was Tracy Guns when they were Hollywood Roses. Axl moved out here, and Axl and Izzy joined Hollywood Rose. With Tracy Guns, it ended up not working. They split off, and that became LA Guns and Guns N' Roses. Now it's crazy that they of course were always kind of a big hit, even when they weren't very good, because they were good looking. Axl was kind of like channeling the Mike Monroe look, and they were kind of adapting that looking like women look. Before they would eventually kind of just turn that all the way into the biker look. And they had some of the best songs, if not the best songs of the 80s, in my opinion, for a rock band. The band moved out here, and slowly pieces just came together. They found Duff. They started auditioning guitar players. They auditioned Slash, and from the moment they met Slash, they knew he was the guy. Plus, all the guys were poor back then. So Slash had a lot of women around him, or always had a woman around him, and always could get women around him. And so they would actually, that's how they would get food, is that they would find these girls that just loved them and loved their music and would buy them food and support them. And I believe at this time, Axl actually had a girlfriend. I believe that's when he was dating Erin Everly, one of the daughters of the Everly brothers. You know, Appetite for Destruction was just like I said, almost just meant to be, because they made this album, and even when they got signed, there was kind of a bidding war for people trying to sign them. And what they ended up doing was they told one woman who was trying to sign them, they said, if you walk down the street, if you walk up down Sunset Boulevard naked, we'll sign with you. If not, we're signing with Geffen today. And she didn't do it, so they ended up signing with Geffen Records and made this album. Now, when this album came out, the cover itself really weeded out a lot of people because it had a woman getting raped by a machine on the cover. Or nobody was listening to it, nobody was buying it. And then the record label, I believe it was Tom Zutaut, made a deal with MTV and just said, play their video once. Just play the video. I don't even care what time you play the video. Play the video. So they decided to play it really late at night, and the album just went nuts. It took off. They showed Welcome to the Jungle, and the rest was history. Now, we all know the history of Guns N' Roses and how, later on in the band's career, it all kind of falls apart, and Axl ends up taking over everything. And it wasn't until last year that the band even got back together and reformed. And of course, Michael and I, thanks to Michael, I got to go see the best version of Guns N' Roses I'll probably ever see. Now, I'm a huge Axl fan, and I will forgive any of Axl's behavior. Unfortunately, I'm just one of those guys that I went and saw him when he didn't have Slash and when he didn't have Duff, and I loved that show. I thought that show was amazing. But this was one of those albums, man. I'm telling you, I was in second grade. A friend of mine liked Guns N' Roses, and it was one of those things where he made me like a mixtape. I loved it, and then I had a birthday coming up. My grandparents would always spend $100 on buying us gifts. And I bought clothes, I got everything that I wanted, and I still had about $10 left. And I asked my grandpa if I could get this record, get this cassette. And he said, well, let's call your mom first. Call my mom. She said, if that's what he wants, go ahead. And I ended up becoming obsessed with this album. I ended up, as a second and third grader, I had a gigantic poster picture frame in my room when I was a kid. Took the side pieces off, taped them together, and then took a flashlight I had, taped that to the top, and that became a microphone. And the first album I could ever perform all the way through was Appetite for Destruction. And I didn't even know what a lot of those words that were in it meant. I didn't know what it was about. And what's funny is when I eventually at Jimmy Kimmel went to see Motley Crue perform, Duff was there. And I ran into Duff in the green room and I was telling him that story. I said, you know, I used to be able to sing that entire album when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I didn't even know what it meant. And he was just like, he loved that. He thought that was hilarious. In fact, he stopped and he said, I got to ask you a question. He goes, the first song, like the first record that blew my mind was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. And he said, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew how to enjoy it. I didn't know the whole acid and everything. And he goes, did you know what those lyrics meant? And I said, no, I didn't. And he loved that even more. So this was the house that they were put up in while they recorded Appetite for Destruction. It's So Easy, Mr. Brownstone, Rocket Queen, Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle. They were living that album while they were here recording it, and this was their crash pad while they were doing it. Just absolutely unbelievable that I'm getting to see this. If you can just imagine, I'm sure this gate probably wasn't here, and it probably looked a little different then, but just think of those guys walking up and down this street on their way to go to the Sunset Strip, which actually would have been up this direction. This down here is Santa Monica Boulevard. Yeah, just think about these guys walking up and down with one of the most iconic albums of all time being recorded, and nobody knew that was what was going to happen. Like I said, it almost never happened because the cover of the album was so offensive. They had to switch covers and put the iconic Guns N' Roses cross logo on the front just to even get it sold in stores. Now, I got really lucky because one of my best friends in my life, Neil Jones, who is the drummer of my band with Michael, Neil knew this story, and he knew how influential this album was in my life and the history of my life. And so what he did was he tracked down an original cover, an original copy of the album on vinyl with the real cover, and I don't know what he paid for it, but it's now mine. He got it for me for my birthday one year. Here it is. The house for Appetite for Destruction was recorded. Not inside, but where they lived when they recorded it. Well, gang, this party's moving over to the Hollywood Bowl. How ironic. And you know what's crazy? I'm gonna get to actually see inside the American Legion that I vlogged that day. Remember that when I told you guys that Clark Gable belonged there? That was his American Legion Hall, and I think Shirley Temple was actually an honorary member. Yep, we're going there. You guys probably won't get to see it, but I will, and I'll tell you how it is. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is inside here. Holy cow. Alright, I'm done for the day. That means time to go see my little cohort, my little sidekick, my little amigo, the Black Ninja, the Jaw. I fully intend to vlog this place ASAP, guys. Jaw, you're enjoying the treats that Daryl and Darla sent you, aren't you? That's the bacon they sent you. You like bacon, don't you? Hell yeah, you do. My buddy. Jaw, did you miss me? You did, didn't you? Not more than that bacon, though. Look at that face. Look at that face! Look at that face! Look at that face. Unbelievable. You got the life, don't you? I'm looking at this little mini poster that I have up, and it's from one of my favorite silent movies, A Trip to the Moon. This was actually like a little promo thing that they gave away, promoting a soundtrack that the band Air had done, based around like creating a soundtrack for this. And I actually have a box set that has this movie in it, but there's another poster behind there, a John Gilbert movie, and I'm just kind of thinking maybe I'll retire this. So since it's been in so many of my vlogs, I might put that in a future mementos box for eBay or something like that, or give it away or whatever. But you might not be seeing that in the rear view anymore. Plus, if I can make my way back up to San Francisco on a Saturday, there's a silent movie museum that I want to go to, and they actually sell that on a t-shirt, so I'd probably end up getting that on a shirt eventually. So I think I'm going to take it down, see what the poster behind it looks like, because I haven't seen it in years now. Make the decision. In tribute to the great John Gilbert, who had his career ruined by Louis Mayer, and my love for silent movies, I think I'll go with The Big Parade for a while. Change it up in life a little bit, so get used to seeing that in the background. Being a hero never gets a break. Well, you guys got to see the Guns N' Roses Hell House. After, what, like, how many years? 27 years I've wanted to know where they lived. I mean, the whole reason that I even got in my head as an 8-year-old that I wanted to live in Los Angeles was getting into Appetite for Destruction. And I got to be honest with you, when I pulled up, all I had to go on was, I had found like 2 or 3 different sites online that had posted that address, but they had posted the address as 1139. And there was no 1139 over there. And all I had was that picture that I showed you guys of them sitting on the porch. And when I saw those windows, I knew I was in the right spot. And I got close up and I looked at the numbers on the gate, and I noticed that the 7, where a 9 should have been, was a little bit newer looking. So at some point, they've probably changed that number so that fans wouldn't know that was the house. But once I realized that that's the house, I honestly never do this. I almost always hit record as I'm walking up so that you get the first impression that I do. But I just stood there for like 20 seconds and I just stared at that porch and I thought to myself, how many times did like Axl Rose and Slash sit out there smoking cigarettes, and Slash have an acoustic guitar in his hand and they play Patience, or they work on Out to Get Me or Night Train or something right out there. I mean, that was the house where Night Train became the thing. Like, they bought Night Train because it was the cheapest alcohol you could get, and you could get completely blown out of your mind on it. And so that's where the song Night Train actually came from. So it's just one of those things, like the magic of an album that directed the whole course of your life, and you're actually seeing where it was created. It just blew my mind. I mean, if I had like a top 5 rock and roll houses I ever wanted to see, that for sure was in it. Right there with Graceland and the Big Pink house that Bob Dylan and the band lived in for the music of Big Pink. You know, that's like upper echelon stuff for me. So I'm glad that you guys were able to go along and see it. Even though I saw it yesterday, you guys got to see it today. So, and I hit 800 subscribers. Holy cow, 7 days for another 100. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow I have to work again, but not till later in the day. And they insist that I can be completely shaven, and they want you to look as neat as possible. So I am going to get a haircut first thing in the morning. So you guys are going with me for a haircut. And I think since where I'm going is a little north of here, I'm going to do the vlog up there. So have a great night, Lionhearts. Thank you, all the new subscribers that are watching. Thank you for everybody that sends me messages. I think I had like a record number of comments, messages, and posts and everything today, more than I've ever had. While I was working today, I spent most of the day just like trying to reply to people. But you guys are so supportive, and I always look forward to seeing what you have to say. So have a great night from your old pal Jordan the Lion, the new poster in the back, and your pal Jaw down there slurping up water. Have a good night.